Hello, it's Miss Thirdall, and today we'll be reading Purple, Green, and Yellow by Robert Munsch. And we've read the story before, but I really enjoyed it. I know you did too, so I'm going to read it to you again. And remember, it's always a good idea to read or hear a story more than one time. Purple, Green, and Yellow. Bridget went to her mother and said, "I need some coloring markers. All my friends have coloring markers. They draw wonderful pictures. Mommy, I need some coloring markers." "Oh, no," said her mother. "I've heard about those coloring markers. Kids draw on walls. They draw on the floor. They draw on themselves. You can't have any coloring markers." "Well," said Bridget, "there are these new coloring markers. They wash off with just water. I can't get into any trouble with coloring markers that wash off. Get me some of those." "Well," said her mother, "all right." So her mother went out and got Bridget 500 washable coloring markers. Bridget went up to her room and drew wonderful pictures. She drew lemons that were yellower than lemons, and roses that were redder than roses, and oranges that were oranger than oranges. Her mother was amazed. She said, "Wow, my kid is an artist." But after a week, Bridget got bored. She went to her mother and said, "Mom, did I draw on the wall?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on the floor?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on myself?" "No," said her mother. "Well," said Bridget, "I didn't get into any trouble and I need some new coloring markers. All my friends have them. Mommy, there are coloring markers that smell. They have ones that smell like roses and lemons and oranges, and even ones that smell like cow plops. Mom, they have coloring markers that smell like anything you want. Mom, I need those coloring markers." Her mom went out and got 500 coloring markers that smelled. Then Bridget went upstairs and she drew pictures. She drew lemons that smelled like lemons, and roses that smelled like roses, and oranges that smelled like oranges, and cloud plops that smelled like cloud plops. Her mother said, "Wow, my kid's an artist." But after a week, Bridget got bored. She said, "Mom, did I draw on the floor?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on the walls?" "No," said her mother. "Did I draw on myself?" "No," said her mother. "Well," said Bridget, "I need some new coloring markers. These are the best kind. All my friends have them. They're the super inevitable, never come off till you're dead, and maybe even later coloring markers. Mom, I need them." So her mother went out and got 500 super inedible, never come off until you're dead, and maybe even later coloring markers. Bridget took them and drew pictures for 3 weeks. She drew lemons that looked better than lemons, and roses that looked better than roses, and oranges that looked better than oranges, and sunsets that looked better than sunsets. Then she got bored. She said, "I'm tired of drawing on paper, but I'm not going to draw on the walls. And I'm not going to draw on the floor, and I'm not even going to draw on myself, but everyone knows it's okay to color your fingernails. Even my mother colors her fingernails." So Bridget took her purple, super inedible, never come off till you're dead, and maybe even later coloring marker, and she colored her thumbnail bright purple. And that was so pretty. She colored all of her fingernails purple, black, and yellow. And that was so pretty. She colored her hands yellow, green, and red. So her mom told her not to draw on herself, and then First, she just drew on her fingers, and then she drew on her whole hand. So her mom is not going to be happy. And that was so pretty. She colored her face purple, green, and yellow and blue. And that was so pretty. She colored her belly button blue. And that was so pretty. She colored herself all sorts of colors almost entirely all over. Then Bridget looked in the mirror and said, "What have I done? My mother is going to kill me." She ran into the bathroom and washed her hands for half an hour. Nothing came off. Her hands still looked like mixed up rainbows. Uh-oh. Now she's in big trouble. Then she had a wonderful idea. She reached way down in the bottom of the coloring markers and got a special colored marker. It was the same color she was. She took that marker and colored herself all over until she was the regular color again. In fact, she looked even better than before. Almost too good to be true. She went downstairs and her mother said, "Why, Bridget, you look really good today." "Right," said Bridget, and then her mother said, "It's time to wash your hands for dinner." But Bridget was afraid that the special color would not stick to the colors underneath, so she said, "I already washed my hands." But her mother smelled her hands and said, "Ah, no soap." So she took Bridget into the bathroom and washed her hands and face. All the special color came off, and Bridget looked like a mixed up rainbow. "Oh no," said her mother. "Bridget, did you color on your hands with the coloring markers that wash off?" "No." "Bridget, did you color your hands with the coloring markers that smell?" "No." "Did you use the super inedible never come off till you're dead or maybe even lighter coloring markers?" "Yes." "Yikes," yelled her mother. She called the doctor and said, "Help, help, help. My daughter has colored herself with super inedible never come off till you're dead and maybe even later coloring markers." "Oh dear," said the doctor. "Sometimes they never come off." The doctor came over and gave Bridget a large orange pill. She said, "Take this pill, wait 5 minutes, and then take a bath." So Bridget took the pill, waited 5 minutes, and jumped into the bathtub. Her mother stood outside the door and yelled, "Is it working? Is it working?" "Yes," said Bridget, "everything is coming off." And Bridget was right. Everything had come off. When Bridget walked out of the bathroom, she was invisible. "Oh, no," yelled her mother. "You can't go to school if you're invisible. You can't go to university if you're invisible. You can't even get a job if you're invisible. Bridget, you wrecked your life." "Don't worry," said Bridget. She ran into her room, got the special colored marker, and colored herself entirely all over until you couldn't tell the difference. In fact, she looked even better than before, almost too good to be true. But her mother said, "Bridget, you can't go through life like that. You're just a picture. Everyone will know there's something wrong." "No, they won't," said Bridget. "Yes, they will," said her mother. "No, they won't," said Bridget. "I colored Daddy while he was taking a nap and you haven't noticed anything yet." "Good heavens," yelled her mother, and she ran into the living room and looked at Daddy. He looked even better than before, almost too good to be true. "Doesn't he look great?" asked Bridget. "I couldn't even tell the difference," said her mother. "Right," said Bridget, "and neither will he." As long as he doesn't get wet. And everyone will know. And that's the end of the story. I hope that you enjoyed it.